Hey, what's good, everybody? The Super Bowl is finally upon us, and so I'm going to show you one of my favorite game time apps, pulled pork sliders. Now, I don't own a smoker. I don't like smoking meats. I'm a classically French trained chef, so I don't really have the patience to do all that, but I'm going to show you how you can do this recipe in your oven and still get some nice, juicy, tender pulled pork that's going to have a little bit of smoke flavor to it as well. And I'm not using any liquid smoke either. I don't like that. I might use it in something else, but for this, I don't use it. So, before we get to the actual recipe, you know what it is. We got to like, subscribe, follow. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of these great recipes. A lot of you have been asking me for a wing recipe for the Super Bowl, and there just might be one tomorrow just ahead of game time. So go ahead, hit that notification bell, like, subscribe, and follow. Pulled pork in the oven. How are we going to get it nice, juicy, tender, pull apart, whatever? We're going to be using what's called a braising technique. And basically what we're going to do after we get our pork all nice and rubbed down, we're going to put it in a hot pan and we're going to sear it off really quick. That's going to give it some color. It's going to lock in those juices. Then we're going to put it in a baking dish. We'll cover that with some foil, put a little bit of liquid in there. I'll get into that later, but that's what's going to create this juicy, moist, tender pulled pork. Now, the most important thing here is obviously the rub. Here's what we're using today to get a little bit of that smoke flavor. We've got onion powder, garlic powder, salt, pepper, brown sugar, ancho chili powder, chipotle chili powder, smoked paprika. Those exact measurements will be down in the description box below, so make sure you check that out. Now, sauce, right? We gotta have sauce for it. I'm not big on sweet sauces. That's more of a Memphis style, right? Today, I'm gonna be doing a South Carolina style mustard sauce. A little bit of heat, a little bit of sweet heat, mustard. It's gonna go great for these sliders. So the most important thing with our pork, right, is our rub. We wanna make sure that rub sticks to our meat. We don't wanna lose any of that. So we're gonna use mustard for a binding agent, right? We're gonna slather this thing down with some mustard. If you don't like mustard, don't worry, you're not gonna taste it, right? It's just to help the rub stay on our pork. But again, if it weirds you out too much, go ahead, put some olive oil on there or something, whatever it is that makes you comfortable to get that rub to stick. Now, in the oven, preheat that oven to 300 degrees, and depending on the size of your pork shoulder or if you're doing pork butt, it's gonna take about 3 to 4 hours. Pork shoulder is ready to go. I'm using an aluminum baking dish just because I have them lying around and it's easy to cook in and I can just throw it out when I'm done. So we're gonna use mustard as a binder. Again, this is just to keep our rub sticking to it. It doesn't add any additional flavor or anything like that, just to help it stick. So we're gonna go in about maybe 2 tablespoons, tablespoon and a half. And what we're gonna do is just start to massage that mustard in all over our pork shoulder here. Wanna get everything covered in this mustard. Massage it in a little bit. And again, it's just gonna help our rub stick to everything. Make sure you get it all over, rub down in there. Right, now it's time for our rub. Like I said, salt, pepper, garlic powder, ancho chili powder, smoked paprika. Those exact measurements will be down in the description box below. And we're just gonna go ahead and generously coat our pork shoulder here. Like I said, the reason I'm doing this in the aluminum foil, because it can get everywhere, right? And so I don't want to lose any of this seasoning. Plus, it'll be great in the liquid after it's done. So we'll go ahead and get this all covered here. We want every inch of this covered. It's where we're going to get all of our great flavor for this. Now, once we've got it all covered and coated, the last part of this is going to be to sear this off. Now, because there is brown sugar in this rub, right? Brown sugar on a really high heat will caramelize and burn quickly. We don't want that to happen. So we're going to sear this over a medium to medium high heat. That looks amazing. All right, pork's all rubbed down and seasoned. Now it's time to sear this thing off so we can lock in all those great juices. All right, we've got our burner on a medium high heat. A tablespoon or 2 of olive oil in there. We're gonna let this heat up. Once that's nice and hot, we'll go ahead and we'll sear off this pork shoulder. All right, oil's nice and hot. Fat side down. You can hear that nice little sizzle. And like I said, we're gonna brown this, sear it, get a good color on all the sides here, all the sides. And then it's gonna go back into that aluminum foil pan. We'll add a little bit of apple juice, some apple cider vinegar, and then some butter to make it really, really rich. Now again, we're doing this because we want to lock in those juices, right? If we create a crust And then we put some liquid in our pan. This is a braising technique that I mentioned earlier. It's gonna give us this tender, juicy pulled pork. Now we only need about 3 minutes or so per side. So then we'll go ahead, we'll give this a little rotate. 3 minutes on that side. You start to see a lot of smoke like this. We'll just go ahead, we'll cut that heat down just a little bit. Always monitor your heat. If it looks like it might be burning a little bit, just cut the heat down a little bit. More. Look at that. That's the color that we want, this nice brown. And listen, we've got a nice little crust on there. That's perfect. We're just trying to lock it in. You don't need to render out all that fat. That's going to come with the cooking process anyway. So we've got our crust here. Nice. And just some really good color. All right, side number 4. And we're just about there. Like I said, 2-3 minutes, 4 tops per side, and we're gonna get this nice color. Some of that brown that's not burnt, that's some of our sugar that's caramelized a little bit. That's okay, it's gonna be fine. It's like that bark when you come out of the smoker, right? Only we're not doing it in the smoker, we're doing this in the oven. These 4 sides, we also wanna make sure that we get that top, like so. And then we'll go ahead, as you can see, there's a lot of fat right here. We'll go ahead and sear that off also. All right, our pork has been seared off on all sides. Let's take it out of the pan. Let's turn the heat off for now. We'll put this in our aluminum foil. Let's move this to the side. Like I said, don't clean that because we are going to use that for our sauce. A lot of flavor left in there. Now, like I said, apple is a great pairing for pork. So we're going to go in with a little apple cider vinegar. It's going to give it some tang. About half a cup or so. Again, this isn't really important. We're just looking for a little bit of liquid here in the bottom. We're going to get some apple juice, not apple juice cocktail. You want real apple juice. Apple juice. And then the last part that I like is I just put a couple of pats of butter right on the top. It's just going to create some nice little flavor, like so. More. And now we wrap this in foil. Just like this. And this is going to go in our oven, 300 degrees. We'll check it at 3 hours. This size, it should be good at 3 hours. But depending on the size, like I said, 3-4 hours. Pork is in the oven. We'll see that in about 3 hours. Now it's time to get into our sauce. Like I said, we're doing a South Carolina style mustard sauce. If you like the sweet stuff, totally fine. Sweet Baby Ray's is available for you. I just think this mustard sauce is great. Super easy to make. It's only got a few ingredients, and we're gonna use that same pan we seared the pork off in to make our cleanup even easier. For our mustard sauce, if we look in the pan here, right, we see all these brown spots and whatnot. That's flavor. We definitely don't wanna lose any of that. So on a medium-low heat, we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna start with a little bit of apple cider vinegar. That's gonna help us get this stuff up off the bottom of the pan. So about half a cup of that. And once that's in there, we'll go ahead and just sort of scrape stuff up off the pan here, right? That acid is gonna react with that and get that up off of our pan, off the bottom there. Once we got that, we're gonna go in with a cup and a half of yellow mustard. Now, how do I know that's a cup and a half? Well, I used a little bit, and this is actually just under 2 cups. So I need half a cup of some spicy brown mustard. You do half a cup of ketchup. And then we'll go ahead, let's get this mixed in. Next, we're gonna go in with half a cup of brown sugar, just a splash of cayenne if you want some heat, and then a little bit of Worcestershire sauce. And basically, we wanna cook this down until this sugar is melted and combined. Control our heat. I'm gonna turn this down just a little bit more. I don't need it to be that high at this point. And then the last part of our sauce that we're gonna need is a half a cup of honey. Now again, all the specific measurements will be down in the caption below. So a little bit of honey here. This is where we're gonna get our sweet from, along with that brown sugar, that cayenne, and the spicy brown mustard will give us our heat. And all we wanna do is just cook this over a low heat until everything is combined. Now I could have gone a little bit harder or used something better than a rubber spatula to get the rest of that flavoring up off the bottom of the pan, but we're gonna be okay here. And this is the color that we're looking for. This sort of brownish, yellowish color. Always check for seasoning and adjust it to your preference. Maybe you want a little bit more heat. Maybe you want a little bit more sweet. Totally up to you and how you want to do this. And this is pretty much the consistency that we're looking for here. We don't want it to be overly thick, and we don't want it to be runny and watery either. There we go, that's starting to come up there now. And we're just gonna let this cook for just a few minutes. We'll take it off the heat, let that cool, and now we just have to wait for our pork. All right, moment of truth. 4 hours, I had to have a drink. Yes, so we left this in for 4 hours. Let's go ahead, we get this foil off of here. Let it rest for about 10 minutes in the foil. Oh yeah. So that's that. And look, we're already looking at this bone. This is looking great. So what I want to do is we are going to pull this out of the juice. All right, got a fresh pan here. Let's see if that bone should just, oh, look at that, just slides right out. It's really hot, but look at that. That's hot, but super tender, super juicy. Now that's good. That's good. I got a couple forks here. We're just gonna bring this over here. Look at that just fall apart. Fall right apart. So you get that. And all we're gonna do is we're just gonna shred this up. And look at that. So juicy, so tender, just falls right apart like this. Look at that. These are gonna make the best sliders. So it doesn't dry out, right? As it sits here and the steam is releasing, steam is moisture, right? So what we're gonna do, we're gonna take some of this juice, put that in there as well. Just a little bit of the juice. And we're gonna go back and just mix this all up. Now, the second part of this, you can add that mustard sauce now, or if you like, you can add it separately. I actually like to add a little bit now. Just put a little bit in here, like so. So we got that left over. I'm just gonna pour a little bit of mustard sauce in here. We'll save the rest. Oh, that's good. Now, this is hot. This is really, really hot. Oh man, but that looks so, so good. Oh. All right, let's make one of these sliders. Okay, I've got my bun here. I like a nice soft potato roll. We're gonna put a little bit of our mustard sauce on the bottom here, like so. We're gonna get some nice pulled pork. Now look, if you like coleslaw, that's on you. I don't. I like mine just like this. And then the last thing that we need, a couple of sweet and spicy pickles on top. Pickled onions also work well, but this is what we're going with. In for the bite. Guys, so tender, so juicy. Perfect for your Super Bowl party. Oh, I'm gonna eat like 6 of those. Until the next dish, y'all.